Hey guys, welcome to the Whimsical Workshop. In this video, we've got our first clue for our caterpillar cross stitch sew along. So let's get started. Yay! Alright, so I did a video last month talking about doing a caterpillar cross stitch sew along. Just to see what cross stitch sew alongs were compared to quilting ones. I showed you how I got my threads ready and prepped it, and I will link that video below. But the first clue has shown up and we are ready to sew. And I want to go over how I prep my canvas, how I start my stitching, and then I'm going to go ahead and get it stitched and I'll show it to you next time. First, if you signed up and you ordered the full kit, you would get canvas and you would get all your threads and you get a color chart the first month, or before it starts basically. And then every 2 weeks we will get a section of the mystery piece. You can see here on the cover it's all blurred out. So we don't really know what it'll look like, but each time we get a pattern we get a little more of the mystery unrevealed. We get a little more of the mystery revealed to us. So this is the very first pattern for this, and I'm going to let you know that if you have purchased this or you are doing this and you don't want it spoiled, this is your spoiler alert. Do not watch the rest of the video because I am now going to show you what the first section of the pattern looks like. In the PDF download, you get the small version of the color chart along with a small version. I got this all out of order. So I got a small version in color, a small version in black and white, which I don't know what I did with. You get a large version spread over 2 pages in black and white, and a large version spread over 2 pages in color. Some people like to use the color and symbols as a reference, and other people have picked their own colors, just want it in black and white. So they're trying to appease a lot of people with different versions. So if you do get the PDF download, that is what you're getting. I have gone ahead and taped these two together, and these are the shapes that we got this time. We've got an ornament, and we have a bird, a little Santa, a stocking, and a pie. So it looks like it's kind of like an advent calendar, but unlike a quilted one that has pockets, this one just has all the numbers on it with the little images. And so we can go ahead and get started. So a lot of people will grid their fabric. Meaning basically these big bold lines here, meaning all these big bold lines, they would transfer onto their fabric with a washout or air dry or air erase pen or a chalk pencil, and then you can follow the grid and you can go, oh, I'm in this quadrant and this is what I need to stitch. I had the grand idea of trying to do that, to share that with you, and I'm going to show you what I did. So here it is. And you will see it does not look pretty. I erased half of it, and you can see there's a little shadow, maybe not there, but up there, a little shadow of this chalk pen still showing. I had to erase it because I was off by 1. I can tell you this was not fun. It was not fun at all to grid your fabric. I've never done it before, and at this point I don't know if I would do it again. So I am just going to let that be the back and turn it over and use this side and do it on this side without gridding it. I am sure there are lots of videos out there on how to grid your canvas if you're more interested in that, but for me it is just not going to work. So what I'm going to do to get started then is I'm going to fold this into quarters, and what this is doing is it's marking my center, which I can then take the pin that came with it and just sort of stick it in there. And it doesn't have to be like, if you're 1 square off, it is not going to make a difference, but it will make a difference if you're like a whole ½ inch off. So then we're going to get our glasses on, and I'm going to take this pencil and I'm just going to make a dot right there. And let's put my needle back over here, and you can see I made a dot right in the center. Now if you come over here and you look at this drawing, hang on a minute, there we go. If you look at this drawing, it has a red line, which I am now darkening with blue so I can actually see it. And this big red plus sign is also marking the center of my canvas, which is right there. Okay, so you can see I put a circle right in the middle. So you can see it's starting, the center is just a little bit below the bird's bottom. And I'm gonna get rid of that circle so I don't have to look at it through the whole project. But now I can say, okay, here's my center, and I need to go up one stitch, and then I can stitch that bottom part of the bird. And so I can work from that. Once I know the position on the canvas, I'm able to then say, okay, this is where I'm going to start, and I can count on here where you go. So that's kind of how counted cross stitch works without the grid. Now, if you use the grid, you could say, okay, we're in this quadrant right here, and here is the center, and you can probably find it a little faster, but I really don't want to risk this not coming out after spending 2+ months stitching this. So I'm just gonna hedge my bets and flip this over and do it without the grid. Okay, so now that I know what I'm starting, I need to know what color thread I need. So I'm gonna come over here to my color chart, and it is showing, it's this little half triangle in tan. So that's DMC 422. So here are my threads. Now this is really funky. This is a wire basket I bought at the Dollar Tree that you hold your sponges at the sink. That's why it's all open like this. But it is a perfect size to put my threads in, and then I can take the hoop off of it. Ooh, there we go. I'll just leave that aside. And now I have these, and I put these in numerical order, so, well, no, I didn't, but I will put these in numerical order, and then I can just flip through, find the number, and pull out my threads. So let me put it in numerical order really quick. Won't take very long, and it will make my life so much easier. And the reason I leave them on a hoop and then just put them in this basket is because I travel with this, and I don't really want to just put them in the basket in my bag and have them spill all over, so I stick them on the hoop just to keep them contained and now in order. Now they're all in order. So now I can go, I need color 422, which is right here. I know I just go in numerical order and I find it, and I am ready to start. So last month I prepped all of my fabrics on my floss drops like this, and so what I'm going to do is I am just going to pull one strand out, and you just hook it with your needle. Okay, and you just pull it out. Boom. That's it. I don't have to undo my knots. I don't have to worry about anything. I have my one strand pulled out, and then I don't have a lot of stitching, so I know I'm not going to need another thread, so we'll just throw that aside. Now, this is how you start your strands. You're going to double the thread. Okay, and you're going to put the two tails of your thread through your needle. Okay, and that leaves a loop on the other end. And there we go. Look at that. Oops, don't fall, don't fall. There we go. I got it through. Now you can, this is my little thread needle minder. I'm going to go ahead and put this in a hoop. Okay, and these are Morgan hoops. They can turn into a little stand. So there's another hoop on the bottom with legs, which I'll show you here in a minute. I really like them because they also have a groove cut into the hoop there, and it will hold your fabric nice. But I also do not make it super taut because I'm going to try to do all the stitching on top, not having to go up and down, up and down. And so you do need it a little bit looser. And right now I'm just maneuvering so I can get this dot in the center of my hoop. There we go. It's still not center. There we go. This should hopefully... I'm sure there's a much more correct way to do this, but... Okay. There we go. Now, and what I do is, oops, it holds it too well, is I'm actually pushing down the center to make it loose, and I'm going to show you why when I start my stitching. And then once I have it in position, I pinch this and tighten that. Now, you may be saying, well, if it's not taut, why are you using a hoop? I like to use the hoop just to kind of hold it and give me a place to grip it, so I'm not always touching the fabric with my oily hands, which they're not really oily, but they will transfer oils to your fabric. Now that I have that in place, I can put my little needle minder on. And then I'm going to show you how these Morgan hoops work. So you can see it's got 3 little holes on the back. These come in different sizes. This is, I think, the smallest one. And it comes with 3 little legs. And I have to say, I really enjoy using these if I'm not clamping my piece to a table. And so I am putting the legs in like that. And then what you want to do is you kind of want to get this big part lined up with the same part on the other side, just so that it's not in your way. And then you just pop these legs on. And I know you can buy these on Amazon. I can link them below. And you do want to make sure that that one's tight as well. So you could have a piece in this hoop and use this as the base, or you have it in the other side and then this becomes the base. Now I have this whole little tabletop. I can get my hands under here and I'm not having to hold the hoop. It's very nice and handy, and it's great for travel when you don't want to have a bunch of, you know, the big clamp and the table thing and everything, and you don't want to have to hold it, so you can do it that way. All right, we got all of that. Now I'm gonna zoom my camera in a little. There we go. Okay, so like I said, we know we need to go, we're gonna stay on the vertical center line. So we're going to, this is the vertical line, and we're going to start right there, but we need to go up a stitch to get to that first row. Okay guys, this is Future Heidi here. As I was editing this video, I realized when I was shooting how to do your first stitches that the camera was way up, way here, and my actual sewing was way down here, totally out of frame. So we are a month ahead of where I was when I shot that video. So that is why everything looks a little different. But let me just run through this again. I'm going to thread my needle again. So you're going to take the 2 tails and you're going to thread them through the eye of the needle like that. And on the other end, you should have a loop like this. Okay, so there's the loop. There's a little dog hair on there. And there's the 2 tails through the needle. So to start your first stitch, you find your center and you go up 1 to get to the right spot. You'll go in the upper right corner of the square you want to stitch and come up the bottom left, because we're doing a diagonal. And we're going to then take our needle. That dog hair is going to make me crazy. Okay. Then you take the needle. So we've gone in from the front, come back up, and then the needle is going to go right through the loop. I'm trying to get a good visual here, especially since I didn't do it right the first time. So you can see there, I've gone down, came up, and now I have the loop end over here and the needle over here, and the needle is just going to go right through that loop. We're going to tighten the stitch up. So now our thread is on top and there's a little loop thing right here. Well, if you go right back through the upper right corner and pull it through, there you go. There's your first stitch, and that is to do it without any knots. It sure makes it a lot cleaner and easier to do. And then what we're going to do is, again, we're going to come up from the bottom. We're going to do a run of these. So you're going to come up from the bottom right. No, I'm sorry. You're going to come up from the bottom left and then go to the upper right. And if you have it in a loose hoop, or if you don't have it in a hoop at all, you can go from the bottom corner to the upper corner, and if it's loose enough or you don't have it in a hoop, you can just do it in one shot. I have one project going out of the hoop that has no hoops, and I'm just doing it. Let me show you how I do that. And then I have this one in the hoop. Now this one is easier in the hoop because it's darker fabric and the hoop stretches it out and you can see where your holes are better, where the other one is on cream fabric and it's very easy. So if you didn't have it in the hoop, you would just hold it in your fabric in your hands, and I want to go over one and then I want to come down to the bottom hole. Oops, and I unthreaded my needle. And you can do it faster out of a hoop, but then you're handling your fabric all the time and your hands may have oils on them that will transfer to the fabric. It may not stay square. It may get, if your tension is askewed, then it may get askewed as well. So there are some pluses and minuses to each one. That's probably a video in itself. You could just sew it like this without the hoop. Now I have to say, sewing on this dark fabric is very challenging. Okay, when I made the video, I didn't know yet because I hadn't done it, because you can even see that stitch. I'm trying not to show you what I've already sewn. You can see even that stitch is a little bit off there because I can't quite see what I'm doing. So one trick is to actually put white fabric in a hoop underneath. Another is to put your phone flashlight light coming up. These are suggestions, or slide a white piece of paper on the work surface behind your fabric to help see the holes. These are all tips to work with darker fabric. I did find the light underneath was a little obnoxiously bright, so maybe if you have something you can dim down. I'm using the Morgan hoop that looks like this, and my work is in here, and then in this bottom hoop, what I've done is I've stuck a piece of white fabric to show through all the way up. There we go. So I got that there, and then I have my piece on top, which again I don't want to share with you yet because that's the next video showing you how far I've made on my advent calendar. So that is how you're going to stitch your stitches. So to end your stitches, what you can do is you can just bring the thread to the back, run this needle underneath the earlier threads and pull it through the tail through and trim it off. That is the easiest way to end your threads. In my next video, I'll show you how to do a pin stitch to end it so you can see how that works. You don't want to do it on this sample because it's actually the corner of my piece and I'm going to pull these stitches out. So you will have to wait to see the pin stitch. All right, back to the scheduled video. So that is how you're going to start your cross stitch, and this is your little, again, your little needle minder holds your needle, keeps it in place, and I hope that this helps you start your first cross stitch. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you're doing the sew along or if you are interested in seeing other cross stitch videos. I'm having a blast exploring all these different projects, and I hope you enjoy seeing them. I'm going to keep stitching on this, and in my next cross stitch video I'll just show you the progress on this one. So until I see you next time, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to be notified every time we drop a video, and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.